Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
All right.
Hello.
Hello, we're live.
We're finally live.
Yes.
All because of me. We are 45 minutes late.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Um,
We made it.
we did.
And we're on a
We
different
did.
day. We don't normally record on Monday, so
Yeah. And my internet was working so good last 2 weeks ago, and then something happened to the cell service, so we couldn't do it last week, and then we're doing it this week, and then it just didn't work very well. So
it's good. We'll figure it out. It'll be
we'll
better
figure it out.
Wednesday then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan, you had your tiki party yesterday. Can you tell us about it?
We had it on Saturday, but yeah, it was our
Oh,
family
yes,
tiki
Saturday.
party. So I was playing bartender. It was a good time. I did we kind of shrunk down the menu a little bit. It's basically three rum drinks and then three kind of classics.
Mm-hmm.
So the rum drinks are Mai Tai, a Chief Lapu Lapu, and a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have probably heard of the zombie and the Mai Tai. Um, the Chief Lapu Lapu is kind of like it's like a juice heavy, like a orange juice, lime juice, lemon juice sort of
Mm-hmm.
drink. And then the classics were margarita, gimlet, and an old fashioned.
Nice.
So we kind of got the gamut of the rums, the tequila, gin, and then bourbon.
I kind of love that you're an old-fashioned guy now.
It's it was pretty good. And I
Yeah,
got
it's
I batched it the week before or the week of
nice.
because we follow some of these Instagram people that make cocktails and pretty entertaining and whatnot, but batching it worked out really well. It's still all the same ingredients. It's just it's mixed to a in a way that you can just put it in the freezer
Right.
and nothing's going bad. I mean, it's basically bourbon, sugars, and bitters for the most part, and that's it. So,
Yeah.
um, it's not really something that can go bad. If you batch citrus drinks, those, if you like cut a lemon or a lime, like those tend to oxidize immediately and they start to kind of lose their freshness the longer you wait. So those
Yeah.
kind of drinks don't batch very well, but the old fashioned worked out pretty well. So definitely enjoyed
Nice, nice,
that.
nice.
But yeah, it was kind of a
That's
smaller
awesome.
group. I think we had, I want to say maybe 15 or so here.
Okay.
So it wasn't huge, but our the next one we have with friends is going to be much bigger, I'm sure. So I think
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna batch the Mai Tai because I looked that up. I think I can batch that the day before maybe, and that could probably work out well because that's quite a few ingredients and that takes a bit to mix up. So
Mm-hmm.
and should be fairly popular, I think.
Yeah,
Do you want to
for
guess
sure.
of those six, which ones were the two most popular?
Margarita.
Yep, that was the most popular.
Mm-hmm. And the gimlet.
No,
Was it the Mai Tai?
I think the second most was probably the old fashioned, honestly.
Oh, shit. Really? Well, I mean, I guess you are in Kentucky, so that makes sense. And you got a lot of old men in your family. So,
Yeah. I mean, if you're counting like quantity of them, yeah, I think the old fashioned. Yeah.
yeah.
The least popular was the zombie
Yeah.
and then the gimlet. Rachel mainly was the only person that had the gimlet.
What's the gimlet?
It is gin, lime juice, and simple syrup.
Yeah, that's my fucking jam right
So
there.
it's 2 ounces of or 2.5 ounces of gin, 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, and then half an ounce of simple syrup, or maybe
And
it's
there's
three
no
quarter
like
ounce of simple
bubbly
syrup.
water or anything like that.
Nope.
I never heard of that, but that's what's up. Like, I like that because I love gin.
And then she she wanted to try. She's got the brand is Beef Eater. It's a Beef Eater strawberry gin.
Mm,
So it's kind of like a strawberry lime gimlet. She
yum.
enjoyed that. So
Yum.
it's a super simple drink. I mean, the drinks that we had that were classics were basically three ingredient. Like the margarita that we
Hmm.
made was a three ingredient margarita. It was just tequila, simple syrup, and lime juice. There's no triple sec in that one.
Hmm.
That's called the Tommy's margarita, and it was really good. Just classic.
Just straight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
mean,
classic.
technically, we put some of the like drops of saline solution, which is like a salt water.
Hmm.
So you put a few drops of that so that it's in the drink and not licking the salt off the rim kind of thing. But some people did the
Yeah.
salt on the rim. But yeah, margarita was most popular overall for sure. It's just a
Margarita's a classic.
classic, yeah.
It's a classic.
So yeah, that was a good time. That was mostly it was mostly Rachel's family that came up. I mean,
Hmm.
the thing with the party, it's most of our family's all in Louisville, so people coming up during the day on a Saturday,
It's a
stuff
lot.
comes up and there's some
Yeah.
cancellations and all that, but yeah, it should be good here in a couple weeks for the next one.
Nice.
There was actually I don't think I told you this. So I talked to Rachel about this. There was a customer at my summer fair show that we were chatting and they were talking about, my work and interested in certain things and we got to talking about they were hosting a tiki party. They were doing their own and they were kind of like building on a menu and they were having bartenders and stuff.
Hmm.
And then we were talking about like, oh, we like host ours as well. We've been getting into this and do cocktails. And I told him about that I do a Tiki Tuesday once a month with my mailing list and send out a recipe every month. And Rachel does it for me. And I just send it out and everything. And they were like, that sounds great. Like, sign me up for that. And then we invited them. Rachel was like, you should invite them to the party. So, like, they're coming to the party.
Oh, fun.
So that should be good. And we'll catch up and see how their party went and what drinks they got and compare the drinks and what they think and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, Rachel's been working on the tiki bar. She got some I want to call them I'm just gonna say floats, but it's basically the the kind of macrame around
Right.
the kind of like colored glass orbs, but ours aren't glass. But
Right.
she kind of like handmade them and hung them. So
They're
it's a nice
glass floats.
glass floats. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, glass floats. Very popular
So
in the Pacific Northwest.
yeah, so that was pretty fun. Do people have them outside of tiki bars just in general or
If you are on the Oregon coast, you will find every place with them. So, yeah. I grew up with one the size of this big.
like a beach ball?
Mm, oh, much bigger than a beach ball. I would say the height
Is it actually
of
glass?
yeah, the height of a 3-gallon bucket. Yeah, the height of a 3-gallon
Oh,
bucket. Like the circumference of a 3-gallon bucket and the height, like maybe a little wider. Yeah, my grandpa found it in the ocean.
that's
It came
sweet.
from Japan. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So my parents have that at our house. Um,
That's
yeah,
got
I
to be
grew up
pretty
like
thick glass for that being
it's
that big.
fucking thick glass. Like I grew up like, rolling all over it when I
Yeah,
was
the
younger.
rope did it have rope on it too?
No, this one doesn't have rope on it now. We just put it on the floor.
Mm. I'm like,
But
man, you'd need some pretty thick rope to put around that.
yeah, yeah, it's huge. Yeah,
Wow.
glass floats are really cool. In Oregon, in Seaside, Oregon, they do a glass float, uh, like glass. It's
Like a festival or a
is it actually called glass float? I think it is. Yeah, they do a festival and they put out 100 of them in the ocean and wait for them to come back, and anybody can find them.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's called a glass float. Yeah, we're right.
Do they put lights in them or anything so you can find them easier, or they just
Nope, they just wash up on the ocean.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
So yeah, that was a good time.
Cool. Yeah. Fantastic.
What's new? You had a party this weekend.
Yeah, the
what was
Beals
the event that y'all had?
the Beals had their summer celebration, and it was the end of summer camp, like adult summer camp, and it was big. I mean, they wanted it to be bigger. They think that about 200 people came. Last year, 500 people came to their
Wow.
big thing, but this was a tough weekend to do it because like last weekend the people are traveling and before school and stuff like that, and so I think next year it's always going to be in September from now on.
What was different
uh
this year? The time it was much later in the year?
it was earlier this year, so it was in July this year and it was in September last year. And we had the summer camp beforehand this year, and last year was like a first like anniversary, like a big ta-da, like people
Hmm.
came out from
Okay.
different like states and stuff like that. So, and yeah, it was great. We did raku, we did some clay games, like clay competitions. Most people showed up weren't potters, so there was a lot of like shitty cylinders that were great. It was fun to watch people. We did a 2-minute teapot challenge, but then when I did the demo for it, we changed it to 5-minute teapot challenge.
Yeah.
And it was fun to see those. That was really fun.
Even 5 minutes sounds a little tough.
Yeah, it was tough. It wasn't easy. It was I want to show you my pot that I did.
Oh, that's the raku pot that you did?
Yeah.
Sweet. Is that a glaze on it or is that just
Yeah, it's a glaze. It's copper glaze on the very top, and then it's this glaze called, it's like a lemon glaze that was a mistake, and then there's some like copper here, and then it's like a blue moon glaze. It's really red. It's kind of cool.
had you done
Um,
raku before?
no, I mean last year I did it, but and also like last year I helped throw the pots, and this year I threw most of the pots, and this year I was like, I'm gonna actually paint one this year because I didn't paint one last year. Um, and so I got to paint one, and it was cool. And I got to paint one of the ones that I made, so that was extra cool. And so,
So is that part of
yeah,
the event that you make all the pots, they get bisque fired and then people can do whatever they want on the
they
painting
paint
and
them.
they
Yeah.
raku them?
Well, no, Eric raccoons them, but yeah, there's like
Do
a
they
few
get
people
to
that
take them
raccoon 'em.
out?
No,
No.
that's too much liability for
Okay.
a party like that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a lot of fun. There was bands, 3 bands, a brewery, a taco truck. So
Sweet.
it was a big to do. Yeah, it was great. I taught 3 workshops during the summer camp, and then Heidi came up and she down and taught a workshop. And yeah, so it was like, and then Jesse came out for the party. Jesse from Riverwood Pottery came
I
out for the
saw that.
party. And Ryan Green. There was a lot of like friends, it was really fun. And so that was cool. And then we all got drunk that night, and Deanna came. Deanna came for the party, and yeah, we all got drunk, and then Deanna slept in her car and I slept in the van, and yeah, I
You
didn't
said
get
it was
too
good
drunk.
weather, which is good.
Yeah, it was great weather, which is great. So it wasn't too hot. It was beautiful. Absolutely
Yeah, because
beautiful.
I feel like July's a little more of a risk with the heat than
Yeah.
September, probably.
Melissa was like checking the weather every single hour, being like, it looks like it might rain. There's like a 12% chance it's gonna rain. I'm like, Melissa, you cannot
Do anything
tell if
about
it's
it.
gonna the weather in northern Indiana is like that friend who always says they're gonna do something and they never do it. Like
I
like you
love it.
cannot trust the weather. Like today was supposed to rain the whole day. Did it rain once? No. No, it didn't. Could I have worked all day? Absolutely. I could have. Did I? No, because I thought it was gonna rain all day.
Dang.
Yeah. So that sucks, but whatever. But yeah, we should probably
Well,
get to moving along. We should first talk about the newest kiln of the kiln lineups of the LNLs of the
The
hotkilns.com.
kiln of the kilns.
The kiln of the kilns, the baby kiln, the
The
little baby
baby,
kiln,
the baby hot kiln.
the baby hot kiln. I feel like it's a good time for me to review the baby hot kiln because I've had it for a month, I think, maybe a month and a half, and it's probably got 15 firings under its belt, I want to say.
Wow, 15. That's
I
booking
could
it.
go check. It might be more. Um,
Dang. That's a good
yeah.
number.
And I'll tell you the things I love, and then I'll tell you one thing that I don't love. Because I think that it's important, even though we're sponsored, to realize that not everything is perfect. Okay,
I don't think that's out of the question.
absolutely. Okay, the things that I love are I love this with a caveat, okay? I love that it's actually two pieces. So the lid and the body is connected, and then the bottom is not connected. For me personally, I would love if those clicked so I could pick up the whole thing and move it. However, I picked it up today or yesterday because I had to move it. And you could just like brush off the bottom of the kiln. You don't have to like vacuum it out. You can just kind of like sweep
Mhm.
off the bottom without getting into the crevices. That's really nice. I love that it fires exactly like a regular kiln. Like when I was using the Schmeier box from a company that rhymes with slut, I I would you just kind of like set it and forget it, and you're just like, well, I hope it reaches this temp. It's gonna go as fast as it can. And in one regard, that's great, but in another regard, it's really cool to be able to see and like actually put a real something inside of this, not just earrings. You can put like
Right.
actual cups inside, and that's amazing. And like, the kiln walls are like 3 inches, so they're really insulated. Um, and then I absolutely love that the control panel is separated. I think that that is quite possibly one of my favorite features. So, also this is fun. This is a fun fact. So I don't know if anybody knows this, but kilns do move. They expand and when they're firing. Contract, sorry, when they're firing. And this kiln, because it's so little, when it's at like cone 4, cone 5, cone 6, it literally like it'll rock a little bit. Like if you
Oh,
bumped it,
really?
which you shouldn't touch it because it's really fucking hot. But if it like, yeah, it like, it kind of like bows, and then it settles down once it gets to like 2000 degrees. And
Mm.
so, it's just kind of cool how much like heat that thing can hold. Um, and also my last thing that I really like is that the stand that they made for it has little rubber feet on it. First of all, that they 3D printed, which is cool. And you can turn it over and it can fit the entire kiln without it like moving around in it. You can put the bottom and the body in, and it's taller than the bottom so it won't like shift. Yes. So, the thing that I don't like about it, personal preference, is that the handle is on the right side. I think that I would have preferred the handle being on the left side because I'm a bad potter and I like to open it when it's really, really hot and pull things out and then put them in water. So, um, so yeah. So, because if you open it up with your right hand, then you have to use your left hand, which is not my dominant hand, to get the stuff out. So I would have preferred that the handle be on the left side so I could pull stuff out with my right hand. Uh, that's pretty
With the
much
with the way the box is, could you turn the kiln to where the handle is essentially on the left side?
no, no, you can't. I thought that you could maybe turn it over, like flip it, but you can't.
Mm.
I could unscrew it if I wanted to, but I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. But other than that, it's a solid kiln. Really love it. And
Have you used more than one shelf or just a single shelf?
yeah, there's 3 shelves in there right now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it's small enough that like the other day when we were doing the party, it was at 800 degrees and we had to move it. And two guys moved it with gloves and like moved it with the shelves in it and everything. And it didn't
Wow.
budge. So, yeah, it's small enough that two people can move it easily. Yeah, that was not preferred, the
Right.
breaker trip during the night. So it wasn't done in time. But yeah, so that, and I mean, it's got the Genesis controller on it, which is freaking crazy. You can see everything that happened in the last firing, which is insane to think of in a kiln this tiny. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's 12.5 amps. It's 9 inches tall, 8 inches wide. The thermocouple does not come out that far, which is fantastic. And
Yeah, it's not in the way.
yeah, and it plugs into a regular plug. All I would say is that you definitely want to put it on something like a cement board or something, you know, cement or tile or a cement board or something like that to fireproof
Concrete
it. But
concrete floor.
yeah, but definitely like uh apartment safe. So you can find that at podcounts.com.
Hotkilns.com. I'll be opening mine shortly. I still need to document the opening and all that good stuff. So
Yeah,
I want to make sure I'm not just rushing it. So yeah, looking forward to checking it out and finding out where it's going to live in my studio.
exactly. It's gotta have a spot.
Yep. I've been thinking about that. My parents were here for the party and I was like, yeah, I got this other kiln. And they were like, oh, are you going to get rid of one of these other ones or what? And I was like, no, I'm keeping it. He's like, oh, well, is it like, is it like this one or like, when are you gonna, I was like, no,
Yeah.
it's a small kiln. It's not, he's kind of like, where are you gonna put it? I'm like, it's not that large.
Yeah.
I'll figure it
You,
out.
if I will say, for those of you who are like, I don't really have the space, it fits perfectly under a slab roller. You can just scoot it right under, and you could put some casters on that buggy, and it'd be good to go.
Yeah, I wonder if like make like a caster's situation with like cement board or hardy backer board on it or
Yeah, or
something.
something. Yeah, because I told Dimitri that'd be cool if because they 3D printed the little feetsies, the little mittens, the
Hmm.
little moccasins. And I was like, you have enough space to 3D print some threads in there, so people could just buy their own casters and throw them on there. So I don't know if he'll do that or not, but
Hmm.
it's an option.
That's cool.
So yeah,
Sweet. Looking forward
cool.
to it.
Let us talk about our first listener question. Our first and only, well, it's kind of our first listener question.
You want to read it? You want me to?
I'll read it. It's long. Hi, Ryan and Becca. I've been a big fan of your podcast for a few years now, and I love listening to all the information and expertise you generously give out. I'm
Thank
not
you.
sure if there was, yeah, thank you. I'm not sure if there was already an episode specifically about this, but figured I would ask in case I missed it. I've been doing pottery for several years now, but just got into doing it full time and making a larger scale works, 8 pounds plus. I notice when I have days I'm throwing all day that my lower back is just completely spent. Even just bending over the sink is really difficult to maintain balance at the end of the throwing day. I have very, very, very minor scoliosis, which might also be contributing to this. I don't really notice this on days I'm throwing small pots, but only when I'm centering large amounts. This got me thinking, do you have any tips, tricks, or have even certain exercises to minimize physical issues like this? I know Becca has mentioned she has carpal tunnel. I do wrist stretches, but I am not sure how to position myself so I don't have as much back pain, other than configuring a standing wheel. I'm only in my mid 20s and want to continue doing this for a long time. Thank you both for all that you do for the community. Best, Hannah from Hannah's Ceramic Studio. Hannah's Ceramic Studio.
Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I
Um,
mean, you kind of said a part in there. I was gonna recommend a little bit of adjusting to your making schedule. I was gonna recommend maybe you're throwing small pots during a day. I say maybe bookend your night with throwing one big pot and
oh
trying
yeah.
to balance out because it is pretty taxing throwing big pots and even if you just said, I'm going to throw 10 big pots today, like that's sometimes like 4 big pots is more than like throwing 50 small pots, you know?
100%.
So that's what I would recommend is kind of balancing out your making schedule so that you can trickle those big pots in there, but it's not, maybe you set a goal of making 2
Yeah.
and not going over 4 maybe.
Yeah, also I think that I mean you talked about a standing wheel and I understand that some people don't want to stand, but I think that it shouldn't be passed over that maybe adjusting your wheel to a correct height is best. When you do a standing wheel, it has to be much taller. So typically the standing wheels are right around your belly button or like a little bit lower, but belly button height. And if you are dead set on sitting, then you should be sitting with the wheel raised to a spot that is higher so your back isn't arched as badly. So you have better posture.
Hmm. Have
Yeah,
you thrown batches of work at around that 6 to 8 pound mark and thrown a number of them sitting?
I have. Um this sounds terrible, but I like to throw in a like if you gave me the choice, I'm gonna throw in a computer chair and like a
Oh, really?
rolling computer chair. And a
Hmm.
lot of people can't throw 8 pounds in a rolling computer chair, but like something that has that kind of support is nice. I also recommend sitting on a cushion, like getting one of those butt cushions. I prefer a neck pillow under my butt, but
Mm.
like something that has a little like support that kind of like moves you in the right position.
What are those cushions
Um,
that are like, there's cushions that are like 6 inches thick? Are they,
yeah,
are they what are they, they're kind of like butt cushions, but like, what are they for?
your butt and
Is
your
it just for
back.
like sitting on the couch or something, or on a chair that
No,
you're
it's
trying to,
it's for sitting on like a stool or chair, like when you're sitting for long periods of time, and it's to correct your posture. Because if
okay.
you're like it like pushes your lower back forward instead of like slumping, I think. I'm not positive, but also you should go listen to the episode we did with Josh. Um, what
Yeah.
episode is that, Ryan?
Josh Reed. Ooh, I'll pull
He's
it up
off of
here.
his game.
I'll pull it
So
up here.
I think investing money in a really good butt cushion, some of those are like $70, or a really good chair, something ergonomic is really like helpful. I mean, chairs are really important. And then raising that wheel a little bit and also like centering small pounds at a time. Center like 2 pounds, then 4 pounds, then 6 pounds, then 8 pounds if you can. I think that that matters too. I mean, if it's hard for you to center,
Hmm.
that's what the caveat of if it's hard for you to center.
Yeah, the episode we're talking about is 234, Body Care for Long-Term Success with Joshua Reed. What
Yeah, so
about, we didn't really talk about clay, but I know you're a big fan of softer clay. How
mhm,
much do you think that factors into? I mean, it's just more stressful the harder clay you use. So I would
yeah,
suspect that would be a good recommendation.
yeah, softer clay is good. I
Um,
definitely like your idea of like doing one pot a day. And if you can't do one pot, if you have to do like three, maybe you should start with a big pot, do one in the middle, and then do one at the end. So it's like spread out over time and you have the small pots in the middle.
yeah, I think one pot is challenging because you're putting all your, it's kind of a pressure to get a successful
Yeah,
pot. Sometimes you got to get in the groove and get a couple pots thrown to where you're happy with
yeah.
them. I would also recommend, besides the staggering the pots that you're making, I would recommend not prepping the clay at the same time that you're going to be throwing it if you can also,
Mm,
because the prepping the clay is going to wear you out and probably throw you off your game a little bit to be ready to throw the pot.
yeah.
Um,
Also, every hour you need to be getting up and walking somewhere. If you are sitting, or even if you're standing, you should be getting up, moving, go up some stairs, go down some stairs, walk outside, do something for 5 minutes just to get your body moving in a different like positions.
mhm.
It's
Yeah,
not
you can
like,
definitely cramp up.
yeah.
I don't know, and I would guess if you're doing a standing, I always use my foot pedal on top of my wheel table. So, I've done it where I've stood and had the pedal on the floor and it hurts my hip. So, especially if you're going that route and you're standing, I would say, definitely what Becca just said about walking around, taking a break. That's a good idea.
Oh my God, breaks are so important. Also, well, I'll tell you the story later, but breaks are really important.
Yeah.
Yep, slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race.
Are there one other thing that I had recently, I did have a little bit of back pain. I think it was from doing the soda kiln recently, and I was loading the soda in by myself with
Hmm.
the angle iron, and I was using that Tiger Balm that you recommended. That stuff works good. So
Tiger
I don't know if that's a common thing, but Tiger Balm is where it's at. I don't know if that would be
Tiger
a
Bomb's
daily thing I would
great.
recommend, but I had some pain for 2 or 3 days and it was pretty good.
Also, like, get a back brace. There's nothing wrong with just getting a back brace. Like, dude, Dusty used to wear a back brace when throwing every single day. And he was a stand-up thrower. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
And if
Just
you are
because you're in
standing
your
up,
20s doesn't mean you can't prevent things from happening by using a back brace. Like,
yeah, back brace, having a padded cushion on the floor if you're standing up and throwing. I have those little garage pad floor pieces like you'd see in a, kind of a gym or something like that, or a yoga mat or something that you can stand up on top of if you're standing.
this is also something that, like, if you have a little extra money to spare, this has dramatically improved my back and my friend's back, Andrew. And this is kind of like Western, well, Eastern medicine, I would suppose. It's called a chi swing, CHI swing. You've used it, Ryan. Remember you used it in my studio, in my apartment. You lay on the ground on your back and you put your ankles in this and it moves side to side and it just like kind of wiggles your whole body and it's quite helpful.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be for
It's
your spine or something like
yeah,
that?
like well, your whole body, but it really just kind of like moves your back into pops your back like kind of back into place. It doesn't really pop it, but it's like a
Hmm.
gentle swing. And you could do
Yeah.
some research on that, decide if you want to go that way or not. But
Yeah.
I will tell you that sitting there for 20 minutes just with your feet rocking back and forth doesn't suck. I
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember when we did talk with Josh, and you can listen to that episode. He was just talking about just general body care of stretches and
hmm
keeping up with your physical health and strength. Lifting some weights. It doesn't mean you're doing anything crazy, but just doing some simple things to make sure that because our bodies and our hands and are like trying to work in the studio with back pain really like back pain period sucks. I haven't had that much
Yeah.
back pain, but I can imagine it's so central to your body that like it it is horrible. So trying to do anything for a length of time without just laying on the couch is stressful. So
Yep. Yepity yepers.
all right, good luck, Hannah.
Yeah, good luck. We are rooting for you. Remember, we're not medical professionals.
Yeah. All right. We need to chat about one other thing first? Are you raising your
Yes.
hand
Oh, look, I'm making an A.
for? It looks like a
Advancers!
four too. Ooh,
Oh, it does.
I got a little literature for you. So, Advancer are the kiln shelves that we use. They are the um silicon carbide shelves, and they're amazing. And they gave us some typical like misinformation debunking concerns that people kind of wonder about with advancers. Maybe it's out there and people are concerned about, but here's a couple of them. So, we use them in our electric kilns, but they are completely safe to use in electric kilns. They're safe because the nitride bonded composition and glassy surface that provide electrical resistivity. Um, and then they said the Saint Cobain and Smith Sharp conducted extensive testing before bringing them to electric kilns. They're mostly used in like, gas kilns quite a bit, but electric kilns they're safe in there. So, um, there's also a mention of them randomly exploding. They do not randomly explode. They
They
can
explode with
absorb.
purpose.
Yeah, it says they can absorb water from the air. They cannot absorb water from the air, so like humidity. They can't absorb water from cleaning them with a sponge or applying kiln wash. Um, Causes for concern are when you're in prolonged direct exposure to moisture. So if it's like sitting in water, or if it's getting rained on for excessive amount of time or something like that. So usually if it's used improperly or stored improperly, um, storing them in contact with moisture on the ground, uncovered outside, if you're hand building on the shelves, those kind of things. So, it does say that they are more sensitive to thermal shock than the Cordia shelves. So when you're ramping up and cooling down, slower is always going to be safer. So,
Yeah, for sure.
that's better for your kiln anyways to go slower. So, um, and then there are some silicone carbide knockoffs out there, but Saint Cobain is the only source for the genuine, like official advancer product. So if you're looking for other ones out there, like Saint Gobain is the go-to. So Saint Gobain, you got Smith Sharp, like those are the names you're looking for. And they say it on the shelf. It says the brand on the
Mhm.
shelf themselves. So that's what you're looking for. And then you can always, reach out to Smith Sharp for any technical questions you have about the shelves. So they'll do their best to answer those for you.
Yeah, we love advancer shelves.
Yep.
Ryan and I have been using advancer shelves for years before they even reached out to us, you know,
Yep. Or we
we've been,
reach out to them.
or we reached out to them, either one. So we are definitely their customers and first. And yeah, we can't say enough good things about them.
Yep. So if you want to look at the advancers, all of the options are on kilnshelf.com.
Yeah, it's a good investment. It's a good investment in your studio for sure.
Yep. All righty. Are we ready to go to our topic for the day?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh
so this
man.
was a listener question that we thought would be good to discuss. It came from Natalie Dieters, which is, I believe, one of two in the Two Sisters Pottery. So, Natalie asked, I'm wanting to know your opinion on having a cohesive look throughout your work. I've been doing pottery for over 3 years now and still in love with all techniques that are possible. Maybe there is more cohesiveness than I think, but how important is that for business, do you think? This is my sister and my page, as she also does pottery. Her style is much more whimsical, and there's also not many of her work as she doesn't do this nearly as much as I do. Thanks for answering. Love the podcast. Natalie. So I'm going to look up Natalie's profile.
I believe it's a Facebook page.
Oh, Facebook.
Yep. Because I already answered Natalie. We'll see how if I go back on anything that I said before. But uh I essentially in a very quick, a quick email basically was like, I think that it's actually great that you and your sister have two different styles because then you can kind of, make that a focus of selling. A lot of people like options. However, I think that within yours, like each of your, you know, styles, you need to be a little bit cohesive, but at the same time, you're still new. You're going to find out what that looks like as you continue to go. But definitely, paring down shapes, styles, and sizes are a good way to start. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think for me it's driven by like what I like to make. So it's going to depend on what you enjoy doing. Are you happy with making uh if you had to make 10 of this thing or 20 of this thing, are you happy with it or is it kind of a struggle? I think working with your sister helps because in one way you can be creating the canvases for her to act on and decorate, which is nice because your forms could be cohesive throughout, and then her designs could be kind of a segment of the body of work, but the forms are standardized in a way. I think that's nice. Your, I think your glazes can be a way to make it cohesive. If you're doing a lot of different techniques of firing techniques, it can make it less cohesive, but the forms themselves are going to be, I think, are the most cohesive thing. And I think customers also like to see a variety of, quantity of different forms. So like a variety of forms, but like a decent number of them. So maybe not like 2 cups and 4 bowls, having a number of the same thing so that they can see the gamut of options that they have available. And then they can kind of like go from there to figure out what they're looking for specifically. It just takes so many pots anyways to get to something that you're like happy with. I think the repetition is regardless of what you're making, you still have to repeat it and make a lot of it to kind of find what you're happy with and what you're looking for, what your style is. That's kind of my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I was just thinking about something that when you were talking, because uh, Forest Ceramic Co. They back in the day, I don't know if they still do this, but they used to have the lab on Friday,
Hmm.
and it was stuff that was like just stuff that they wanted to try, and it didn't fit at all into their general lineup. And I think that that's a really great conception to do. Like, is that the right word? Conception? Concept?
A
Yeah.
concept, yeah.
Concept. Concept to do. Like, even you could even do it at a show, maybe highlight like at the very end of the table, be like, just a sign that says like these are the experiments, this is the experimentals, and have them priced a specific way, or like say, if you buy this, you have to tell me what you like about it. Something that like engages people, because then that like not only tells you like what they like about it and why they're buying it, but it also gets, all of those new fun things that you want to try out and onto actual clay. But at the same time, you can still have like a more cohesive line that's got maybe the more quote unquote boring pots and more traditional, but in your lab, you could have this stupid, crazy glazing technique that you tried, or this crazy shape that you thought, or this butter bell that you were like, maybe I'll try this. And by the way, I'm never going to do this again. And like, it could be anything. And that might be a fun way to like approach shows, just to, you know, engage the audience too, but also kind of have the mismatch, like the misfit toy section almost.
Hmm. I kind of like if I'm doing, usually the most experimenting I'm doing these days is, well, I do have the soda pieces at the shows, and those are in their own section, but I don't label them anyway specifically to call them out. I just put them together so it's cohesive because they do look similar. And if people are attracted to that group, then I'll use that as a conversation starter. But if it's the more common experiments I'm doing, which is like glaze combos, then I'll intermingle those with, if it's a mug shelf, I'll put those mugs on the shelf and then let them stumble upon them so that I'm not trying to, I don't want to say bias them, but I don't want them to pick it out from a specific area that's separate. I kind of want to see it stand on its own in relation to its peers in the booth. So, but if somebody does pick it up, I will call it out and say, "Hey, this is a new glaze combo for me. I'm glad that you decided to try it out." And uh, I might ask them, "Hey, was there another one that you were thinking of?" Or I'll kind of like make note if I'm seeing them look at different ones and what they were comparing it to and maybe why they picked that one. So I do think that's a good option to ask them what they liked about it and why they chose that one. And I always use that as an opportunity to say, hey, this is a newer form for me, or this is a new thing that I'm not really sure about, but I'm trying. And even if it's a new form and uh, I kind of like having some things that are not as obvious, like a sponge holder. I don't want to put signs out for that just yet because I want them to start thinking about it and also ask me about it. Or a garlic grater. I do have signs for garlic graters because I have enough of them out, but if it's something that is not obvious, I kind of want that conversation starter because maybe I'm not settled on, okay, it's not fully in my lineup yet. It's kind of something that I'm trying out, not sure, and I want to get some feedback. So I kind of like to let it stand on its own in that way and see how people react rather than calling attention directly to it. So that's kind of how I typically handle new glazes. I don't have too many new forms, but new glazes in the lineup.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with earrings, for instance? Are you gonna have a full pottery tour, for instance? Are you gonna have a whole booth of the new stuff? Or are you gonna intermingle old stuff, new stuff?
Dude, I don't even know.
Are you gonna have enough of
I
every
also don't know that either. Um, I'll probably come in here and throw some stuff just to have cups and stuff ready. Uh, the earrings, I really love the direction that the earrings are taking. It's just taking a lot more time than the last kind of set of earrings took. So I'm kind of seeing how that goes. I mean, for a Michiana pottery tour, I'll throw something together. Jesse was like, I had all my earrings out for $10 each at the at this party because I'm so over them.
You're talking about the
And
old set, the kind of 80s set?
yeah, yeah, and I'm like just so over how dirty they get and how like I'm cleaning them constantly because they're on porcelain. And he was like, "Why are they $10? You can get so much more." And I'm like, "Because I don't fucking care about them anymore." and so I might leave them at Jesse's studio when I go to the Shannon Pottery Tour. Um, then I have to figure out the coffee festival. So
Hmm. That's a smaller
I
footprint, so I think you should be okay with that.
it's a smaller footprint, and I hope I'm okay with that one. I don't know. Texting Deanna just for
I
a
think
backup if needed.
you could make so many little espresso cups.
Tchotchke things. I know I should, and I'm planning on being down near you at the beginning of October, so I should be able to just fucking bang them out and just
Yeah.
do. If I did everything under $20, except for the earrings, I really think that.
You're talking about those espresso cups, weren't you?
Hmm.
Well, I think you were kind of playing with the idea of selling them
Yeah,
to the event or something, but I think having them as an option would be great.
yeah. So maybe I'll just do all small things, and you can handle the big shit, you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that might be a thing. Um, like it would be good to have little teaspoon holders, like little small plates and
Hmm.
little tea bag holders and stuff like that. I think that would be a smart move. So maybe I'll do that. All small stuff. That'd be fun.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll make a few small vases on my little wheel.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know.
So Natalie mentioned being in there 3 years, still loving all the techniques. I wonder if there's a sampling you could do with, maybe you do maybe series is kind of the way to go that may work for
Oh
her
yeah.
of, hey, I'm gonna try this technique for 3 weeks or the next 2 weeks or a month, whatever the timeline is, and just play with that technique and see where it goes. Because I think if you're trying to play with four techniques at a time, you get kind of lost. I feel like you don't really get enough time in anything specific to, because at least for me, I like making forms and then I'm thinking ahead of, okay, maybe what glazes would look good with this form, or what am I excited about for the next part? Is it, ooh, I really like the way that underglaze looked on this cup. So, ooh, that I can't wait for, people reacted this way about these cocktail glasses. I can't wait to get it on an oil bottle, for instance. People are going to love this in their kitchen on their counter versus, when they want to get a drink or whatever. So, I think that's kind of an option to go so that you're still experimenting, you're still sampling, but it's with intention and it's
Yeah.
focused.
I think that, yeah, I think, and it's a kind of a fun way to do that too, is if you do have a social media of any sort, like I know you do Facebook, but if you have an Instagram or something like that, it'd be fun to just be like, this month I'm trying this out, follow along, like show the failures, show the successes, and then the next month, maybe keep one element of the month before and try to incorporate that into the next element. Like, let's say 1 month you use speedball underglazes and you like put clear glaze on top of it. Maybe the next month you do a completely different shape, completely different everything else, but then you do speedball underglazes and maybe you put stroke and coats over it or a different type of glaze over it. Speaking of speedball underglazes,
Subtle.
I,
So subtle.
what can I say? I'm the subtlest of the subtle. Speaking of speedball underglazes, I wanted to talk to you about the new colors that they have because they're really freaking great.
Mm.
Uh, I want to say did they come out with 9 new colors or is it 10? We don't know.
I'm not
But
positive. I want to say it's
I
12, but
got
I think it's 10. I think
might
it's
be
10.
12. I got 5. I got robin's egg, bubblegum, spring yellow, honeydew, and lilac. Wow, I'm impressed that I named all of those.
Mm.
And they were all very good. I would say that honeydew is the only one that's not super similar to its label. It's going to be a little bit more blue than green, but it's still one of my favorite colors of the batch, honestly.
12. They have
And
12 new ones.
12 new ones. They've got like a caramel color. They've got some new browns, which obviously not going to be in my works, but that's cool. Um, and they've
Yeah,
got like a new,
the caramel one looks really nice. Caramel
yeah,
or caramel. I don't know how most people say
I,
it, but caramel.
whatever. But yeah, they're doing great. They're still the new formula, so they're good to go. They're great for painting. They're all like I got all pastel colors. They're freaking bomb. Um, and they really pair well with a lot of their their older colors. Like I find that the spring yellow and the regular yellow go really well together. The lilac and the amethyst go really well together as like a dark and a light. The robin's egg and the honeydew actually go really well together.
Hmm.
And I mixed a little bit of the honeydew with some of the spring yellow, and that is like a really nice, that's like a really nice greeny, like light green. And then if you use, well, I mixed my own green to make it another green that worked with that. But they're a really good complement to some of the darker colors that they have. And so yeah, they've been really fun to work with. Honestly, I'm telling you this in like full transparency. Like normally when I would get colors, I probably wouldn't like incorporate them into my work so quickly. But this time I literally was like, yep, these are great. And I put every single color in my palette, and I'm using every single one of the colors that they gave me. So
Nice.
they're on all of the new earrings, and I want them on all the new earrings. So that's like great. So
Yeah, I got pretty much all the same color she did, except I didn't get robin's egg. I think I got burnt orange instead of robin's egg, and burnt orange is
yeah,
my favorite. So
I'm excited to see the burnt orange color because they didn't really come out with a pastelly orange, but maybe that was what the caramel was supposed to be.
yeah, the caramel is actually pretty orange looking on the website.
Yeah.
It's nice. It looks good. So I'm excited to try that one at some point. But yeah, you can look up all those and find a distributor of where to buy them and all that good stuff at speedballart.com.
SPEEDBALL Speedball. Boom.
Love it.
Love it.
Speedball. So yeah, if you're playing around, Natalie, back to Natalie's question
But
with
wait,
some
I have to say one more thing.
what?
Also, they have brand new bats, and our face is on one of them. So if you buy a new bat, get the pink one.
Get the pink one, share us, tag us.
Yeah.
We'd love that.
Okay, that's it. Continue.
That's it. Yeah, how did I forget that? Yeah, I like the idea of taking something from that and moving forward. I think the way that I move through experimenting with things is so slow. So if I'm making a form, I'm gonna be like I started with Sgraffito and I just start with black. Okay, I'm gonna just use white clay with black and do the Sgraffito from there and just that's it. And then I do the clear glaze and then we go from there and maybe you try, okay, now I'm gonna do the gamut of all of my glazes and see what looks good with the black. And then you're like, okay, let's try some other colors. So you kind of go that route and because there's so many options. When you got the underglaze color, you got the glaze color, you got the clay body. All of those look completely different paired with one another. So, I mean, that's the good thing about our medium is there's no shortage of experimentation to do. Um, how would you do you just get like a gut feeling of what's working, what you want to continue with and proceed with? Is it getting it in front of customers that has more of a influence there for you?
I feel like that's a really hard question to ask me right now, just because I feel like I'm floating in a like non-gravitational force field with like a bunch of ideas swirling around my head and none of them being like uh nobody's saying yes or no to any of them. So I would say that yeah, I think that when you do something and you're like, wow, that was really fun. I think that's you need to you need to see how that goes. But when and if and when it doesn't succeed, you need to accept that, you know? Um,
It could also be a timing thing. Sometimes I've had
yeah.
glaze combos that I've had out and I didn't have the audience there, or maybe the forms weren't there for that glaze combo to shine. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't paired right, or I wasn't mature enough in my making for this to work. Like I think there's some old glaze combos that were amazing glaze combos that I could pull out and they could do really well right now. Um, and it's just kind of a timing thing. So,
Yeah.
but it's great that you at least have those experiments and those tests under your belt to say this is what's possible. If I'm looking for this certain look And it could be that the clay body that it was on back in the day was part of it. It didn't shine as well because your clay body wasn't as white of a clay or something. So your
Right.
glaze wasn't shining as well, or you were using a red clay body and your glazes just kind of got muddled or didn't really look good. So I think having the test under your belt, and every time I do new glaze combos, I test them on the two different clay bodies I have. I test the whole gamut of glaze options and layering, and that's kind of the way I approach it. And then I find a set of them. Maybe there's six of them that are good, but I feel really good about two to three of them. And I go with those. My gut, I'm like, I really love those colors, or it fits a nice gap that I have in my color schemes. Maybe you have a lot of dark colors and you needed something with a hint of a lighter color to appeal, or for me, it's just kind of a gut and I'm what I'm most excited about, and then I scale it up and I say, okay, now I'm going to make some shot glasses in that color, see what it looks like on an actual form instead of a test tile,
Yeah.
and then get it on a mug or get it on, put it on an item that's pretty safe that you're pretty positive is going to sell. And then that's kind of the way I approach those, you know, adding things little by little that make it cohesive over time, and I'm doing it safely rather than just doing tests of 8 or 10 different things and then it's all on the pieces that you're planning to sell. Um, because then I think your table can look a little less cohesive because you could be like, well, I'm trying to see what people like, but I think maybe testing 2 to 3 colors at a time might be a good if you're going to go the glaze route or the underglaze route. Testing
Mm-hmm.
a couple things at a time is a little bit safer bet, and it'll give you more information of what people are responding to. Because if you have 6 different things, one of each thing, people buy one. It's giving you a little bit of data, like which one do they like the best, but it could be that they like red or something, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
I
Dude,
think like
this
like
has
the
been,
earrings that you're doing, I mean, you've got endless possibilities of what you can do with those.
I know.
What's pulling you to do one thing over another?
I really like the silver, so I'm trying to incorporate the silver as much as possible. Um, I think that's the biggest thing. Sorry. And you know what I think is the big, you know what actually it is that, you know, ever since I was in college, I wanted to be a jeweler. Like I wanted to do stuff with jewelry. Like I've been slinging weird fucking jewelry for my whole life. And I also love to paint. I love to paint. I love painting these tiny little pictures onto these earrings. And
Mhm.
like I would say that the most unenjoyable part of the process is the clay part for me at this point in time.
So why wouldn't you
Which,
just do paintings? Why wouldn't you just make
surprise,
paintings and
surprise.
sell paintings?
I think that there's something about paintings for me that's like this sacred medium that I don't necessarily want to get into because I feel like I feel like I'm finally at the point of like when I make one of the earrings and it's like a really cool painting, it's like, wow, I almost don't want to let this go, you know? And if I started selling paintings, I almost feel like that would be it would like cross this boundary that I kind of set for myself a while ago after I tried selling paintings once. And it really just like got to me when I didn't sell stuff. You know, it was like, it wasn't like, eh, whatever. It was like, God, I poured my soul into that and you didn't like it. You know, it meant a lot more. And you know, I find that a little bit with this, funny enough. I've been really struggling with like, I'm kind of frozen right now because I know my shit, I know it's great. I know it's really fucking great. But like finishing them has been really hard because I'm like, okay, I really love these. I think they're really great. What if I put them online and they don't sell? I'm gonna be I'm gonna go straight into the gutter again. Like I I feel like there's more on the line for this than like just earrings that I've made, you know,
How's
that
that
don't.
different than the advice that you gave to her earlier that said, "Hey, you're experimenting. You have to be okay that people might not respond to it, and you have to be willing to like say, okay, that just
I think
didn't
there's a
work."
difference between experimenting and finding what gives you like the most joy. So experimenting is one thing, but this is like I've been looking for many, many years, 10 plus years, and I'm finding the thing that makes me happy, you know?
How much of the equation is the selling part of the experiment? Because I still think it's kind of an experiment in a way, because you're still finding the second half of that equation of the customers and the how to sell it.
I guess it's kind of an experiment, but the problem is, or the difference is, there's nothing else. There's like
What do you mean nothing else?
I have nothing else to sell. The experiment is what I'm selling. Like to her or to anybody else that I would, I would give advice to, I would say use like still have your main line and have something else that you're experimenting on and like continue with that, but still have your main shtick. I don't have a main
Mm-hmm.
shtick. Not like there's no main shtick right now. We're finding main shtick, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just like I'm in I'm not saying this is not like better or anything like that, but I'm in a very much different transitional period than something like this. 3 years down the line is a lot different than 15 years down the line,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um uh because there is no more there's very as far as clay is concerned, there's not much more that I can learn that I want to learn. Let's be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Let's clarify. There's a lot more that I can learn, but there's not much more that I want to learn. And but there is a lot that I want to learn in silver. So like if I was selling silver jewelry, like that would be I think that would
Is that
connect
your
to that.
next, is that what you see your next step past this? I'm going to say experiment, but next this body of work, what is your next
No,
thing?
I like the idea of mixing the clay and the silver, and I like the idea of doing like these individual paintings. Maybe wall art might be a thing that like clay wall art might be a thing that is in the future. And maybe there is still silver incorporated into that. But wall art, I feel like, is something that you take to a show. And I don't really want to do shows anymore. You know what's really great is not doing shows. Um,
I would suspect the scale of the earrings is pretty enticing with the
yeah,
shippability, and
yeah.
I don't know the fragility. It's probably not as fragile.
It's not as fragile because they're flat and yeah.
The footprint in your vehicle and your
It's so
firings,
nice.
it's pretty minimal, but it does take a lot of fine detail work and
And there's a lot of stuff. Like there's still a lot of stuff, you know? There's a lot of tools that I still have to use. That's really my main issue right now
right.
with the van. But yeah, yes, it is an experiment. It is. I just feel like I don't know, maybe it's not different. Maybe it's not different and I just feel like it is, but you know,
I think
um,
it sort of depends on whether you want whether you get validation from people buying the work that makes you feel like you're on the right track, or if it's just,
right,
how happy am I with making, I mean, she's doing it full time, so there has to be a
right.
business backbone to it that brings customers back. And
Is she doing it full time? She doesn't say
she
that in there.
this is my sister's page. She also sells mushroom school. I thought she said she was. Or maybe I was thinking of the
That was
question
the first
before.
one who did
Oh, I'm sorry.
full time. So we don't know for sure if they're doing full time or not.
She
That
okay,
also
she
come that also
Natalie,
comes into play.
yeah, okay. Natalie does it more than her sister. I think I was
Yeah.
misinterpreting that as full time, but
But yeah, that also comes into play if it is full time or not. And for me, it is full time, but also I live a much less money driven life than most people. So
mhm. Okay, it's
yeah,
not, yeah, it's not full time from her question. How much do
yeah,
you
we don't
think
know.
there's some talk about like people can like if you put your soul into the things that you're making, like people can tell. Like there's something about the energy of the work that like people can tell that you enjoy making the thing. How like I don't know if it's just you're more attentive to the craftsmanship maybe, and it just
No,
shows itself because you just actually you put your attention to all the aspects of this, and it's just
I don't.
like getting to this level of competence with the thing that you're trying to do
I don't think it's
versus
that. I think that it's. I think that it's like. I think they have to witness your joy, whether it be when buying said piece or in the process of buying or in the process of like, we have a lot more ability to show that like excitement on the internet now. And also, but then also like it shows you can see when somebody is like fully in it, right? You can
yeah.
see that it's their whole identity to do this, right? Um, like I think that you can see as I've been, painting more and more recently that this is really exciting for me. I'm posting like process pictures and I'm saying these are amazing, and uh so you can like kind of see how that's going, but also I think when they buy a piece from you, there's this genuine like love of the piece and like knowing having a story for every single thing that you have, being in the moment instead of out of the moment, you know. I think that oh my god, there is this woman in Utah who set up like next to me and across from me at a few shows. And this woman quite literally exuded her art. Like she just like when people came into her booth, she was like, "This is my stuff. It's so fucking cool." Like, you know, look at this one, look at this one, look at this one. You can tell that this is like everything to her, you know? There's no freaking question.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it is, but then like some people are just fucking tired and they can sniff that out, you know?
Yeah. Or they could realize that you don't want to be there. You're kind of like, I have to be here because I have to
I
sell my
have to be
stuff,
here.
but
Yeah.
I'm not really in it as much, or I'm not as excited, or maybe you're introverted and you're a little
Right.
uncomfortable,
But
but
there's
you're
always
doing your
like
best to be out there and
right.
put yourself in a challenging situation to do your best.
Right, but even in moments like that, like let's say you're a painter, right? And you're like, "God, I don't want to be here because I hate talking to people and this is really fucking hard for
I
me."
wish I was just in my studio
I
painting.
wish
Why
I
is
was
it?
in my studio painting. Even when that happens, like somebody will come in and they'll be like, point to a painting and your eyes light up, you know? There's always tips, like little clues that are like, oh, I really love that one, you know? And you can like see it in your eyes. And then there's some people that you can tell are just like fucking selling it and it's not,
Hmm.
they're just tossing paint on canvas because that's what they do to make money. And I feel like I've been in that category for a long time, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they can definitely tell. I'm trying to think of ex what kind of um mannerisms or uh what body language is given off when
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of sensing that when I'm looking around at a show. But I'm usually the
Well,
one that'll initiate conversation with a Potter for sure. But
yeah. But even like I told you about that booth. I think I told you last week about that booth that me and Heidi went into at the Crazzle show. And it was like all little trinkets and tin stuff that this guy like cut holes in. He cut holes in little measuring scoops and made giant chickens out of like seats, like metal seats. And like his whole entire booth had just all these tiny little trinkets that, and I bought one that has, they all had faces on them and they were all cute and like weird. And then you like look at this guy and he's got these tiny little round glasses, the biggest, bushiest mustache you've ever seen. And he just exudes everything in his
that
booth.
artwork,
Like, and then he hands us his card, and his card is a postcard, and it's just his mustache. It's just a picture of his mustache. And like, and he didn't say a goddamn word to me, but
yeah.
you can just tell. He's like, this is it. This is my life. I have no other life. This is
Did he
it.
have kind of a genuine happiness to him, or was he just kind of
I wouldn't
meh?
say it was a genuine happiness, but it was definitely like a genuine artsiness.
Uh-huh. Well, some of it also ties into how do they display their work because that
Yeah.
it sounded like the work that was put in beforehand to present kind of a gallery exhibition sort of
Mm-hmm.
experience for the viewer can go a long way, even if you are not the
Yeah.
most conversational person.
Yeah. It
That
felt like
that
you were
can,
walking into an antique store. Like that's got like
yeah,
so much shit on the walls, and you're just like, I'm overwhelmed. There's a
right.
lot.
And there's a lot of that there's little bits of um additions or ways that it gets presented that they didn't have to go out of their way to do that, but they did it for the experience or
Yeah,
it fit what they were doing or it fit their artwork in a certain way. It's not
yeah,
just pieces sitting on a table because they need their pieces there.
right.
It's all part of the
And
presentation.
that also goes into that, like I was telling somebody about our forever long idea of having the buddy show, which I think that we definitely need to do eventually. We have to do it. And that kind of like goes into that where your friends are usually more excited about your work than you are because they see the potential and they see how beautiful it is. And it's like, I know for sure when I'm with Deanna or I'm with you, I'm like, bro, look at this one. Like, this is beautiful, and I can sell it and people can tell that you are telling the truth and you're not just like making it up, you
Hmm.
know?
Did I tell you about the show at Berea where my mom and dad were there and
Yeah.
my dad was talking about the soda pieces and they were
Yeah.
like, "What's that?"
Yeah. But I mean, like, that just goes to show you that, like, people can tell that people are genuine?
Yeah, because I yeah, I always sometimes when I see a booth where there's signs everywhere, it's kind of tells you what everything is. It's telling me that they don't want they don't want me
Mm-hmm.
to ask about it. They want me to read the signs and
And not talk to
know
them.
what this is for. Yeah.
Or they're like sitting, like, they have one of those, the art booths, like what are the pro panels, and they're sitting behind the pro panel so that you can't see them.
Hmm.
You're like, cool, 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 cool.
Those kind of make up an awkward booth setup anyways, because you either sit
Mm-hmm.
in front of the booth or some people sit across from their booth in
Yeah.
a director's chair, and it's like there's not really a good way to
No.
talk to people unless you're literally standing inside your
In the
booth
booth.
or in the
Yeah.
back of the booth where you're visually in eyesight of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or a countertop that's behind that you can sit behind that you're able to be accessible. I don't know. Yeah, I think I like to be just open with people about, hey, I was trying this out. This is new to me.
Yeah.
Hey, this, and educate them a little bit on the soda, for instance. I'll say, these pieces, because I can tell when they pick something up and they look at the price. Okay, like that's already registered to them. They don't even have to engage it. I know that they've seen it. And then if they pick these other ones up, like I know that they could have in their mind, why is this price different than that price? Especially if they go to the regular oil bottles first and then they go to those,
Yeah.
and they're kind of balancing that. And I'm saying, well, these pieces here, I don't know if you can tell, but these are a little different than everything else on my table. Everything else I have is fired in an electric kiln, very predictable. These are fired in what's called a soda kiln. It uses gas as the fuel instead of electricity. And the main difference is that the results are very unpredictable from one firing to the next. And it's way
Yeah.
more involved in the process to get to this finished result. So that's why you'll see, and I'll kind of demonstrate like, okay, the one you picked up, like that's actually one glaze, even though it looks different all the way around it, it's different based on where it's at in the kiln. And it's kind of an educational thing and just saying, yeah, I've been trying this out. I actually just got that out of the kiln a couple firings ago, or I that was a newer glaze that I put in this kiln, and this is the same glaze when it's in an electric kiln. Here's the exact same pot, but it looks different because the firing's different. So that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
what you're that's I mean that's up to you if you want to talk to the customers about that and educate them about what goes into your process, because a lot of people just don't know that stuff, or don't know anything about the process of pottery anyways. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy the work that goes into what we do, and it's like if people were to see all the steps, they'd be like, what, this was made from a clay ball? Like, that's amazing. Honestly.
Yeah. Anything that has a story really, I think, sells well. There was a lady at Krazel that I bought earrings from, and all of her earrings they were all like different colors and stuff, and they were metal. And I was like, "Oh, is this enamel?" And she goes, "No, these are pieces of metal from cars." And they were
Hmm.
like all different cars. And her card had, it was a postcard, and it had a list of every single vehicle that she took metal from. And she like marked off which cars that your piece of earrings had in it.
How can she
And
tell from the color of the metal?
yeah, yeah, because some of them are orange, some of them are black, some of them are cream. Like, you
Oh,
know,
that's neat.
yeah, it's really neat. And like, I think that if something has a story like that, it's just a lot easier to get behind, you know?
Hmm.
Even if she didn't love it, she's done the work to like figure out, like, she's done this weird work that's like, I'm going into a junkyard and I'm cutting this Chevy, like 1967 Chevy Chevelle up,
Hmm.
and that's the turquoise. Like,
Yeah. She wouldn't have to, she doesn't have to go to the card route and show people what the cars are from,
no.
or, oh, I got this metal. It was recycled metal. That's all she could say and just keep it there.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, this is from a car. I got him in a junkyard. I got one down the.
Oh, and this was fun. Every single earring design had a different name that was like the flat tire or like car related.
Oh, they were all their own pieces of artwork. Each pair
Well,
of
she had
earrings,
different
or
designs. She had like different designs, and those designs were named something
oh,
specific.
okay,
But it was just like they were fun. They're fun to read, and like it made you want to go to the next one and be like, "What is
that's
this one
cool.
called?" You know?
Yeah, that's neat. I like that theme of doing something.
Yeah.
Huh?
I always thought that you remember Glassy Baby. Do you remember Glassy Baby?
No.
It was big on the East Coast or the West Coast. Very big in Seattle. And they treated their employees badly. But every Glassy Baby, which was like a cup, had a name. So,
I just Googled it. Like Paradise, Miracle, Beyond the Stars,
right. And so
Seattle
I've always,
Sunset. Yeah.
I think I told Aletha once that she needed to start naming all of her mugs like old lady names and just like write the name on the bottom. It's like, oh, this is Bertha. This is Marge. Like, this is
Hmm.
Margot. This is Betty. And I think that would be a fun, like if you're having a hard time connecting or telling a story about your pieces, you should just start naming them. You should just start signing them with a name on the bottom and then just be like, yeah, every single piece has an old lady name or an old person name or a young person, just a name. It'd be
That's
like,
funny.
every single piece has a name that I would consider an animal name. This is Skittles. This is, Togo. Like, I don't know. I think that stuff is fun because because it adds something that makes you have a story about it and it makes it fun for you,
Hmm.
you know?
And it's like, why did you choose like old lady names? Like maybe it's, the story is you used to hang, your grandmother raised you basically. You went over there all the time,
Yeah.
and she always had get-togethers with her friends that would come over, and they were all named, Bertha and
Bobby
Marge
Sue and
and
yeah.
whatever.
Or you could choose like every single one of my electronics is named after a TV character from MASH.
Hmm.
Like you could choose different actresses and actors or
Mm.
movies. Like you could literally find any category in the world and start naming your pieces.
I feel like you could have a series, like a Back to the Future
Yeah.
series, and you name one of them like Einstein, one of them Doc, Marty,
Yeah.
you know, Hover or Hoover, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like that would be a lot of fun. I mean, like anything like that really gives you the leg up in selling, I feel like, now that we've gotten off of that topic completely.
And it kind of just
But
relates back to, okay, when did I make that piece? It's got, maybe it's related to the other pieces that are in that series in a way.
yeah.
I think it's a fun way to just do a series and have fun with it. So it's not
Yeah, I
just
think that
a date.
yeah, series are definitely underrated. Series. Yeah. Can I say something completely off topic?
Yeah.
I am having kitten fever so fucking bad right now.
Do you
I
get all the
want to
Instagram videos for kittens?
I mean, yeah,
We
but
get Rachel and I get them all the time, but you know.
Japheth from Thistlemore Pottery, Thistlemore has kittens right now. I want another cat so bad, and I know that it's not a great idea. It is not a great idea, and I
Why
should
don't you
not
just
do
go
it.
visit? You'll see some
I know
cats
I
when you go
should.
to Michiana Pottery Tour. I'm sure
Yeah, Jesse's. I know
Jesse
I
might
should go
have
visit.
some. I don't know. You could probably go see Japheth,
Yeah, I just woof, and he's got all black cats. My fucking weakness, man. Like
like
so
Josh's.
cute. Oh my god, so cute. Yeah. And I told Rachel that and she goes, "You know you can't do that." Lloyd's a one cat lady, like he is. And she goes, "He's an adorable hurricane." No, he said he's an adorable tornado and I was like, "You're right. He just can't handle it." Can't.
I think you
And
need
I'm
to
mad
be
at him for
somewhere that
that.
has a kitten and then kind of like get a feel for it and just see what the life is like.
He's a
And
jealous
then
fucking cat. He would never do it. It
and
would
then it
be
would
terrible.
deter you from this. You'd be like, okay, I got a taste of it, but I don't have to, you know.
Listen, I already have a kitten. His name is Lloyd. Like, he is the
Yeah.
most ridiculous cat.
Rachel wants to go to the cat cafe. We're gonna go to one of
That'll
those
be
here
fun.
soon. She's been wanting to do that. I think the days haven't worked out with scheduling. We've kind of thinking about it a few times in the past few months,
M-
but
My
yeah, that'd be a
favorite
nice way.
reels on Instagram are the cat cafe ones where they're like, Margot was arrested for cat fever the other day, and and like they like name every single cat in the kitten cafe and like
So
what their felonies are or something.
I have not seen those.
I'll find them and send them to you. They're hilarious.
There's a cute one we just saw where it was a lunchbox and there were two kittens like face to face in the lunchbox.
God damn it, kittens are so stinking cute. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind an older cat. I just want a second cat because I feel like Lloyd, he doesn't let me pick him up.
Lloyd's a
He
Lone
only,
Ranger. He doesn't,
I know.
but he would have to be in the vehicle with, and like, would he do okay with another cat? Are you able to get them acquainted safely?
Yes, this is the only time I would be able to get them acquainted safely because I could put one of them in the tent and then one of them outside and then like,
Would they even approve you getting a cat? Whoever
who?
you're getting it from? Don't you usually have to give them a little like information about yourself and
Not if you get a barn cat.
so somebody gives you a cat?
Yes. Anyway, Japheth was like, "You can have one. Come and take one." I was like, "You need to shut the fuck up
That sounds like a
because I
lot of
will."
work. You're gonna have to pick it up into the vehicle and it can't go much of anywhere.
Yeah.
Keep track of it.
I know. I just like say I'm not getting another cat. I just am having a really hard time with that reality. And
Hmm. I feel like a
I
3 to
text,
5 month old would be the youngest that would probably make sense.
yeah, like I'd be down with a rescue. I love rescues. Um, but that's probably not never going to be a thing that works out. Um,
That's the thing that you'd have to go there and get, I want to say accepted, but they would have to approve you basically. And you'd be
right.
like, would they approve you being that, hey, I live in a van and I travel around, but I already have a
I
cat
th-
and he's
I think
safe?
so. Yeah, you just couldn't tell them that your cat hates other cats, you know? By the way, my cat's a murderer. Like,
As
but
long
I'm
as your
not gonna
cat
do
doesn't
that
look like a
because
mole.
clearly it did not work with Babs. I mean, it actually kind of did work with Babs. It could have been much, 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 much worse. But yeah. That's why I think it would have to be a kitten because Lloyd would get used to the kitten and be like pissy to him at the very beginning of his life. And then the kitten would forget, you know? Babs did not forget. She was like, "You fucking bitch. Like, you treated me like ass when I came here and I am not giving you the time of day." It would have to be like a toxic situation between the kitten and Lloyd, where he's like, "I want your attention and love." And Lloyd's like, "Fuck you." And then, like, finally, Lloyd would be like, "Okay, fine. You can lick me." Like,
Or the cat would be like, they want nothing to do with me. I gotta be an independent, you know,
yeah.
I gotta be on my own
And
because I can't trust this guy over here.
yeah, and that's why I can't get another cat. Like, that's why this will
And then
never work.
you're the one that's nurturing that cat and
Exactly.
they're relying on you.
Exactly. And that's why I can't get another cat. Like, I get it. I understand. I know. I'm just struggling. Can't wait till he dies and I can get two kittens.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding. I'm
You
kidding.
said it, it's on the record. July 29th, she wants Lloyd to die. Everybody remember this.
No, I don't want Lloyd to die. I love him dearly. I'm lucky that Lloyd is who he is. There's just one flaw, and that's that he doesn't like cats.
Could be worse.
Yeah. No,
He
I'm
could
really
not like
lucky that,
you.
yeah, he
He
does
could
like
run
me.
off all the time
Yeah,
and just not come back.
you're right. No, he loves me, and I think it's more that I just feel bad that I can't be there all the time with him, and he gets kind of bored, and I think that, like, he needs something to make him unbored. And that's like the biggest thing. Like, I feel bad that I can't like play with him all the time. But then again, he goes out and fucking hunts all the time. So it's like, you know,
Hey, he's living a better life than he would be in an apartment and you working, I would suspect.
that's very true. That's very true.
Yeah,
I
he's probably enjoying it.
hope so. I think he has, oh, he was like throwing up a lot the last time we talked,
Hmm.
and I changed his food, and he's not anymore. He's doing good. So,
Nice.
yeah. Hmm.
That's good.
Yep.
Speaking of
Okay.
changing food, this is completely off topic. I'm gonna go off topic to cap us off here.
Hell yeah.
So, so we went to Berea Went to the show. We saw Hannah from Three Lick Pottery. We went with her
Yes.
to the
Love Hannah.
Icon West, and her husband was there too. So we ended up chatting about this like diet that they've been doing, and then
Oh
me,
God.
Rachel, and my parents are have been doing it for a week. It's a no sugar, no grain diet,
That sounds
just
awful.
to challenge ourselves. We're planning to do it for 6 weeks. We cheat a little bit for the party, but other than
Right.
that,
Um,
it's been quite the challenge. So
can you
drinking
please can
tea
you
and
please
everything.
can
Go
you
ahead.
please do a interpretation of Carl when this diet was presented to him, please?
Do you know this already or
No. I mean, like, well, Rachel put it on her post, but all I was thinking was Carl's doing this. Carl is doing this.
I love that you said that. Oh my gosh. He was like, you know what? I like to try a lot of different things, so it's not really going to be that hard for me. I think honestly, it's going to be easy. I think I could do it about 80% of the time of what I normally eat, and it's not really going to be that difficult.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I just imagine like Carl being like, yeah, yeah, this is gonna be easy. I can still eat croissants, right? No, Carl, those are bread. What?
he was get he I don't know if he did this after the diet started, but he's having these hard candy or something that was like no sugar added, and I'm like, dude, it's a hard candy. It's not real sugar. It's fake sugar. That like that doesn't like oh, but it's only like 1 to 2. It's like just 5 calories or something, right? Like it's nothing. It's just a it's just a piece of candy. It's not. And then you get to you got stuff in the fridge and you got to basically check labels of everything now to make sure it doesn't have any added sugars and all this stuff and no fake sugar too. And then he's like, well, we got this in here. I'm not going to waste it, you know?
I'm not gonna waste this. I gotta
Yeah.
eat this.
I'm not going to throw this out. Like,
I can't.
it's just got a
It's
little bit in
sitting
it.
right here. It's sitting right here. It's gonna expire in 2 days. I have to eat it.
Yeah. It's all right. It's just, I'm doing good.
It's fine. I'll just pick it back up tomorrow.
Yeah. And then we were we were talking this weekend about it because they came in for the show, and I don't know if you knew this, but he goes to the bakery up the street, the Buskin Bakery, and he
Oh,
likes to have the
I
donut
know.
because it reminds him of his childhood, this donut that he
Yep.
had at this place when he was growing up. So he
Every
ended up
Sunday.
he got a donut, and he was like, I'm saving up, I'm gonna have this donut. And then he was like getting on me about because I got the peach truck on the Monday that we started it because I like you have to reserve the peach truck box of peaches like a month
Hmm.
in advance or whatever. You don't have to do it that far in advance, but you order it beforehand, and then we picked it up on the day that it started. So I basically had a box of 40 peaches that I had to eat. I mean, I didn't have to eat them. I could have frozen them or whatever, but I've been eating basically 2 peaches a day to make sure
Is
they
that
don't go bad.
counting? Is that counted as sugar in this
Yeah,
diet? Okay,
you're
fruits,
not
no fruits.
supposed, well, you can have some fruits, but they can't be high in sugar. So you can't have
Okay.
like peaches, I think had 15 grams of sugar or something like that in a peach. I can't remember, but you can't have like high sugar fruits. So, like watermelon's okay, but peaches, pineapple are very high in
Like berries
sugars.
are good.
Berries are okay, strawberries, raspberries. I think
Yeah.
blueberries are even off there because I think they're a little too sweet, maybe.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I just
limited
like
on some of the
to,
fruit, but I was
I
like,
would
I'm gonna
just,
eat these, and he was getting on his thing about like calories and carbs comparison,
oh
and
my God.
basically we came to the equivalent that like 2 peaches equaled one donut, one glazed donut, and I'm like, really, you're gonna like say that we're eating the same thing if I'm eating 2 peaches versus your one donut?
No,
They're not
no.
the same.
Do you see those? Have you seen those like comparisons where it was like how many donuts equal this like pop? So like Coke
No.
is like 14 donuts or something like that.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's like it's a meme and the bottom of the meme it's like and it's like, apple juice is like 12 donuts and blah blah blah. It just keeps going up and on the bottom of the meme they're like, I mean, all this is telling me is how healthy donuts are. And I'm
So
like,
so as
yeah,
long as my diet is, within reason of donuts, less than half a dozen donuts, I'm okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just so funny. I mean, it's all about perspective. But I just like to say that I do not condone this diet because I don't condone any diet. And um, but that's just because I have had food issues. So
I think
that's it.
the realistic takeaway for us for doing this is to challenge us to part ways with some heavy sugars that we've been accustomed to having. So
I
like
mean, you are a candy freak.
candy,
Yeah.
sodas, I do use, sweet and low in tea. Could I scale that down to I've been drinking tea straight, like unsweetened tea. It sucks, but I can
What
do it.
about honey? No honey?
You can't have honey.
Okay. Can you put dates? Can you do
I
dates?
think dates were kind of on the fence. I think maybe you could. Are
You should see
dates
if you
that
can use
sweet though?
coconut sugar. Yeah, dates are super sweet.
I don't think you can use coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is still sugar, right?
I don't know.
Anything that's sugar, like if it's got sugar in it, you're not gonna no.
You should see if you can use dates because if you like, you could probably make like a date syrup that would be really
We did
sweet.
a raspberry black tea tonight, so we steeped it and did a little thing there. So it's hopefully it's got a little flavor.
Mm,
I've been having some of these different flavored teas that you put on ice. So it's just like
nice. Okay.
a fruit tea that's, chilled. And that's been okay. But the black tea in the morning that's unsweetened, I can do a peach or blackberry black tea, get through it, but I'm not having 3 cups of it or whatever.
Oh, oh, you should do figs. You
Figs.
should you should think about putting figs in your tea. That would be really good. Or like a fig type of jam or something. Um, so figs are not rich in sugars. They only have 16 grams, but dates have about 65 grams of sugar.
16 grams of sugar still sounds like a lot.
Well, let's see. As in raspberries. You're right. There's 5 grams of sugar in raspberries in an entire cup.
So yeah, so I think my realistic takeaway is that we'll get away from some of those snacking kind
Yeah,
of things and the heavy breads and all of
yeah,
that kind of leave you kind of bloated or inflamed a little bit.
yeah.
Kind of heavy feeling after meals is probably a good thing. But
One one time in my many different diets that I've done. I remember it was after, I want to say it was after college or in the middle like of a summer of college. After college before I left, I was at my parents' house and I was over 21 because I wanted something like sweet and but alcoholic and I decided maybe I don't know. I don't know what I decided, but I got straight tequila and I put raspberries in it and like crushed up raspberries. It was so fucking awful. It
mm,
was disgusting. But like
should put some lime in
I
it.
I know. I don't know what I mean, like there has been so many fucking diets that I've done that I can't even remember which one it was. So that's why I don't do diets, but everybody has their own path.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to eat enough. Would you like to hear my food revelation of the week?
sure. Let's
You've
hear it.
probably already know it, but I sometimes have like really hard times with textures and foods and like what goes with what. And I would not say that I have like ARFID or anything like that, like any like food sensitivity diagnoses or whatever. Um But like for the longest time, like I didn't really grow up with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I don't know why. It just
I didn't
wasn't a thing.
either. I had peanut butter sandwiches,
And
but not the jelly with it.
but I fucking love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like classic for me. I love them. But I don't really eat bread. Like I don't buy bread because it always goes bad. And
Mhm.
also my tummy just doesn't do well with yeast. But I do buy a lot of tortillas. And I've forever and
Love the
ever
tortillas.
I fucking love tortillas. I have forever and ever and ever been like, no, I can't put peanut butter on a tortilla. That is disgusting. Like, no, it just doesn't work. I hate pinwheels. I hate like if I wrapped up meat in a tortilla, that is not something I enjoy. I do love quesadillas, but I finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna try peanut butter and jelly on a tortilla because I didn't have any bread and I had
Mhm.
tortillas and it was delicious.
You love a fucking wrap.
I do. I fucking love a wrap, man.
I
Like,
do not like the breakfast burrito. I don't like it. I
uh,
don't just open face that. Throw the tortilla away. Just give me an open face burrito
give
bowl.
me, you know
Like I don't
what?
want the
Andrew doesn't
tortilla.
like tortillas either. Stationary Andrew doesn't like tortillas either. I'm like, what the fuck? Tortillas are literally one of my main food groups.
I mean, I like it in a taco, sure, but I
Yeah.
feel like shoving random things in like the only kind of wrap sort of thing that's not like a taco that I generally like is a chicken Caesar wrap. I do like
Oh, I
that,
love a chicken Caesar wrap.
but
Yeah.
other ones I'm just not like a club sandwich and a wrap. No, just put on some bread. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't typically like sandwich type things in tortillas, but I love tacos, and I will put fucking chicken curry salad in a tortilla instead of
Yeah.
bread, like all that stuff. Also something that I've resurrected from my childhood is my white trash cheese pizza. And that is
What is that?
straight Lunchables worthy. So it's a small tortilla. Well, you could do whatever size tortilla, but it's a small tortilla because it fits in my mini toaster oven. And it's the squeezy pizza sauce, the Kira della Losa or whatever one. It's the only one that comes in a squeezy tube. And then cheddar cheese. And that is it. And you put it in the microwave or the toaster oven and then eat it like a taco. Fucking
Mm,
great.
is the tortilla firm?
I like it when it's soft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it
I
sounds
could see them.
disgusting.
They're just like the little mini
Hmm.
taco versions of the tortillas.
Yeah. 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 So I've been eating a lot of those.
Sounds like a flimsy Lunchable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yep. Anyway, we should probably go because it's 12 there and it's 11 here. I got to
Yep.
work in the morning.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that episode today.
Yeah.
Natalie, hope
Wow, we
you
almost got to 2 hours.
yeah, close to it.
Let's do it.
Natalie, thanks for the question. Hannah, thanks for the
Yeah.
question. Yeah, we'll catch you all next time. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Whale Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.